Hi everybody, this is Felicia and I am back with another design team layout featuring some of the prettiest gold cardstock I've worked with here from Cut Cardstock called Currency Cardstock in Gold. Yes, 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 it is beautiful. And what I'm doing with this cardstock is I'm going to be making part of the page here, elements I should say, elements of the page here. So what I'm doing right now is I am basically putting a frame around this photo, but I'm going to do a double frame around this photo with white first, and then I'm going to use some of the plain cardstock that I have, and then I'm going to start putting the layout together. So the cardstock that I'm going to be using to help give this page some elements is a gold cardstock from Cut Cardstock, and it is very nice and very sturdy, and I love how it actually adhered to the when I was using it in my Big Shop machine to cut the fairy that you see there, and then I'm also going to cut the background for the grass that I'm going to be making with it as well, and I'm also going to be cutting out a sun. Yes, it's going to look good though, I promise. So right now I'm going ahead and I'm matting this photo here of my two beautiful little grandchildren when they were babies. Faith was about 1 and David was almost, I think he was 2. Yes, yes, yes. David was 2. So they were both sitting outside, and I thought it was the perfect moment, and I just got down on my stomach to take that photo. And at the time, Faith was more interested in what she was sitting on than anything else. So I thought that was pretty funny. So here you see me going ahead and matting the cardstock, the photo. I don't know why I said cardstock, sorry. Anyway, you see me mounting the photo here on the yellow cardstock. And now I got my photos ready to go. So what I'm going to grab here is I'm going to grab the strips that I've already pre-cut. And I've also pre-cut the fairy. And I'm trying to arrange these photos on how I want them to be arranged. And there's the gold cardstock at the bottom, and I'm going to be using it as part of the background for the grass. What I noticed that it did was, I don't know if you noticed that, but when I put the gold cardstock up against the photos, it kind of gave it a little bit of a hue, which was really cool because I didn't know it did that. And I was actually, when I was putting it together, I didn't find out until I looked back on the video, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute here. So it actually gave it a nice little glow, and I really love that. And plus it matches the background here that I have of behind the two babies there, and I thought that was pretty cool. I really did, but it gave it a like a little gold hue to it, and so I decided to go ahead and put it at the bottom here of this layout. Now, in hindsight, I wish I had cut the white part down first, the white basic cardstock that I had it on. I wish I had cut that down first, but I didn't do that because I was in such a hurry of trying to get it together and put it together, so because I wanted to get to the fun part of it, which was spraying it and putting on all the little glitter thingies and then cutting the grass and then all of the other good stuff. So that's why. But what I ended up doing here while I'm doing this is I ended up making sure that I cut out a lot of the excess stuff. So right now you see me grab that strip there, and that strip is for the grass. So I'm getting ready to use, what is those scissors? I guess those scissors right there, those guys. And I totally don't use those as much. And I just, for some reason, I just grabbed them and I just started using them. So I don't know if you have that issue with any of your supplies, but apparently I did with this one because I never use these scissors. I mean, I hardly use them. I'm either never or hardly. Okay, so let's just say I never use them. So as you can see, I made grass. There you go. And the grass up against the gold, and then the gold reflecting off the photos was pretty cool once it got all together. And even when I took the photo, it kind of gave it a nice little glow, which I thought was pretty cool. And once again, in hindsight, I should have curled the grass first before I glued it on. For some reason, I wasn't even thinking about that. But in the future, we will be doing that. We will be curling the grass beforehand. And so I finally get it on there, and then I'm trying to flip it forward so it'll make it easier for me to curl it. And then I used my little tool that you use for quilling, and I was curling it, and it was fine. It was just going to take me forever, and I should have curled it before I put it on, and I thought about that after the fact, but it's okay. It still turns out pretty good and pretty decent there, because not all grass is curly, and not all grass sticks up, so it had a combination of both the curly part and whatever with the grass. And so you could see it right now that I am fighting with it, trying to get it to curl. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? So, of course, I didn't want you to watch me struggling with that. And I ended kind of like right around in here, I think it is. And then I decide to just, go ahead on and curl it and do something else. So, and there you have it. So the grass did get curled. And I made that fairy out of the gold cardstock as well. And then for the background, if I just put some glitter paper, so I could, because I did a double cut, one in the gold and one in the glitter, and I wanted the glitter to show through the gold. It made a perfect addition to that. And I'm also putting on some sequences that I used from Spiegel Mom Scraps from, I guess, a couple years back, that I've had that mix right there. And some alphas there from, what is that? Hip Kip Club. That's what I was trying to remember. So anyway, so I'm using all these goodies here, and this is all from my stash. I did not buy any of this. I've had this all in my stash, and it's just been sitting and sitting and sitting, and I've been using this stuff and using a lot of the things that is in my stash. And I'm using gold alphas here. And the fan is on, so if it's moving by itself, because my ceiling fan is on, and it is hot. I think this was one of the hottest days we've had, other than the day before, or other than yesterday, because I'm doing this video on a Sunday, voicing it over on a Sunday, and Saturday it was just insane hot. It really was. So now that I figured out how I want it, so I decided to go ahead and remove all the glitter so that I could spray the paper down. And I spray it down with some mist that I have in my stash, some Heidi Swapp Gold and some Mr. Huey's the green there. And I just did a tiny bit of that, and then I blotted out, because I didn't want it to all be just kind of like gold, and I blotted it and make sure that it was, it took a good hue on there to it. And then I wasn't quite satisfied with what I had, and so what I did was I took it and I sprayed it again. And you'll see me do that. It'll come, and I'll bring it back here in a little bit, but I went and I sprayed it again, and then I also cut it down as well. And you're going to see that these decisions are pretty much last minute decisions for some reason. And I normally plan everything out, but for some reason I just had last minute decisions, and I'm laughing about it because oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm doing that. And also too, if you're wondering why that's white on the other side, the original gold cardstock is white on the other side. So if you're wondering why that's white, that's what it is on the other side. So it's just one side is gold, and then the back side of the cardstock is white. Alrighty, so now I've got that down, and I'm cutting off the excess there, and I'm getting it all together so that I can get my pictures, and you can see that moving there. And I got some more of my plain cardstock out of my stash so that I can glue this down so it can be flat, because I don't like it when it curls, and so I just added additional cardstock to make it a little bit more flatter, and that kind of worked out just right there. So I am putting it down, and then I realized that it's too long for some reason, because I forgot to cut one of the sides, and I end up pulling it up. So here you get to see some of life's little challenges for us YouTube scrapbookers here, and I just left it in there so that you can see. And then I had to add some more adhesive because I cut some of it off, and there you have it. So now it comes out just right there, and it fits right like it's supposed to, with the short, cut it down so we can have some, some of the gold, or what is that, deep yellow? I don't know what mustard yellow, I guess you would call that, showing. So now I have that down, and it still curls up a little bit, but I remedy that later, and you'll see when at the last, when they show the pictures at the last minute. So now I'm going here and I'm rearranging the photos again, and I'm putting the fairy on there, which came out really nice in gold. I've never cut a fairy in gold cardstock before, so it looked really cool. This video doesn't do it justice, but it really looked kind of cool cut out in gold cardstock. So I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna cut out my fairies and butterflies using gold cardstock, and it's gonna be super super cool. And you can do that too; it'll look nice. So, all right, so now I sprayed my I sprayed my background. I'm putting my photos down. I am getting everything set up and situated here so that I can add my sequences and my fairy, which I thought would be great because they were close to the ground, and I figured that fairies hang close to the ground and sometimes in little trees and things like that. I always loved fairies when I was a kid. Oh my gosh, I used to play with this little fairy thing, like a paper doll set long time ago, long time ago when I was a kid. And I've always liked the way, because I don't know what it is about fairies. And then I started drawing fairies, and I did a really good job with it too. And I used to draw, tons of fairies, making them do acrobats and, flips. And I don't know, I don't do that anymore. But I just loved doing that when I was a kid. But I don't do it anymore. So what we do is we turn to our dies, and there you have it. You just use your dies to cut them out now. You don't have to draw them anymore. All right, so the fairy is there, and she's supposed to be standing in the grass, and that's how I wanted it, so she could stand there almost like if she's watching over the children while they're in the grass. And now I am going to start putting down my sun. As you can see, I cut it with the gold cardstock, and and that mustard colored cardstock to go underneath it, because I wanted it kind of like to look like it was really sun with a lot of sunburst instead of just a few sunbursts. And so I kind of offset it with that, and the gold is on top. And now I am going to scrape up these sequences, which I'm glad my mat's the way it is, or else I wouldn't have been able to get those off my mat, and glue them all down. So I just sporadically just threw them on the page because I wanted to look like fairy dust and the fairy. Just like the fairy kicked up the dust, almost like above the children to protect them, kind of sort of like. I remember that kind of a scene when I was a kid, so that's where I got it from. It kind of brought back to memories that kind of fairy dust stuff that I used to play with when I was a kid. So now the title is going to be Sibling Life, because it's not really sibling rivalry or anything like that, or they were cute together. They really were. It was so fun taking photos of them when they were babies. Now they're so much older, and they're entering teenage years. Oh my gosh. So David there that you see, he'll be 13 on September the 4th this year, and Faith turned 11 this year, and then she'll be preteen next year. So oh my gosh, time is just flying by. It almost seems like yesterday when they were babies. I kid you not. I'm just really amazed at how fast time is flying by with them. And oh my gosh, it's just, I don't know. It's just no more babies. There are no babies in our family right now. Everybody's older. And my oldest daughter, those are her two. And then my youngest daughter, she's getting her master's. And then my son, he can care less about having kids. He doesn't. He's in the middle too. And he's just not interested. So right now, and I don't have any cousins, close cousins with babies or anything like that. There's no more babies. My niece, her youngest is 3 years old now. So there's no more babies. Oh, so sad. Anyway, enough of that. We'll get back to the layout here. So I am pretty much almost done here with the layout. I think I glued the sequences down yet. I don't know for sure because I've been rambling here, so I'm not sure if I put them down now. But anyway, so I'm putting down Sibling Life, and then I found these great little things in my stash, these little mirrored like decorations, They're really cool. And then I peeled the film off and I decided to put them, instead of it saying XO, it has like an X and a heart and an X and a heart, and I thought that would be appropriate to put on here. So I put that at the end after I'm finished with putting down life, and then I put an exclamation point, and then I put those down, and they're pretty cool. They actually came out pretty cool to put down here, and they're in the perfect spot. So it's almost like, and then I had the, like, see, you could see like little sequences coming down on the side where the fairy is, because I wanted to make it look like she was, like her wings kind of was fluttering and flipped up the fairy dust, and the sequences is part of the fairy dust and all that other good stuff. So I think that's what I'll do for my graduation cap next year. That gives me an idea. Make a whole bunch of butterflies and fairies on the top and make a bunch of glitter. That would be so cool. And people probably think I'm insane. But I think it'll be cool. I don't know why I'm laughing about that, but anyway. So I am now gluing down all these hearts. I don't think I show you me gluing, I'm not hearts, I'm sorry, stars. I don't think I show you that I'm gluing all of these down because it took a while. But this is part of my therapeutic process of gluing down these individual sequences. I mean, that's what I like to do. And that's probably why I was in such a hurry to get to that part of doing the layout. And yes, it took me a while. I was watching some films and stuff. So I am just about done. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And be sure to tune in to get your own cardstock there from Cut Cardstock. Take care, guys, and have a great and wonderful scrappy week. Bye-bye.